Greetings, this is Mr. Garwood with our continuing series on Calculus 2nd Edition by Briggs, Cochrane, and Gillette. The last thing we need to cover in section 3.3 is the second derivative. Oh my Jesus, Mr. Garwood, we have spent all week working on the first derivative, and we did limits, and we did horrific things, and then you kind of showed me this cool way to do things with the power rule, and it made life a little bit easier. Why are we talking about a second derivative? Well, number one, the textbook tells me I have to, so there's that. But honestly, it's very straightforward once you've mastered the rules that we discussed in the previous videos. So the second derivative, oftentimes the second derivative is denoted as f double prime of x. Notice that the first derivative is just f prime of x. I also can write that as d squared of f over dx squared, and it's going to drive you nuts for the rest of your life that the squared is on the x in the bottom, but it's on the d at the top. What I'm really saying here is that this is really d squared over dx squared of f of x if we go to that operator notation in the same. That is the same thing. But here's the big idea. I'm going to say f of x is 3x squared plus 5. Actually, let's make this a little more interesting. Let's make that plus 5x plus 2. Okay? First derivative, f prime of x, which is df dx, is, well, 2 times 3 is 6, so 6x. 5 times 1 is 5. The x goes away, and the 2's derivative is 0. That's what we were working on with all the other rules that we learned in this thing. Well, this is how hard this gets. F double prime of x is really just the derivative of f prime of x, or the derivative of the derivative. All of those things mean the same thing. So df dx, that's the derivative of 6x plus 5. Okay? Well, the derivative of that, 6 times 1 is 6, and the exponent goes to 0, so it's 6. And the derivative of 5 is 0. It's 6. Done. Very, very straightforward. I'm just taking the derivative, and I can do this forever. I could take the third derivative. Sweet sassy molassy, Mr. Garwood, what are you talking about? The third derivative, well, that's just the derivative of the second derivative, which is just the derivative of 6, which is 0. Now, obviously, higher order stuff is going to behave differently. But at the end of the day, this is all we're asking you to do. I hope you found this video useful. Good luck in the coming semester.